Chapter 60, Weaklings and Nurglings. You're all weaklings. The sister starts. Unfortunately, none of you have the aptitude for grades beyond the lowest in abilities. She continues. The crowd of a few dozen settlers and guardsmen in armor stand in loose formation. Alone, none of you could take down a Nurgling. Now, what I'm about to propose is a little unorthodox. She pauses in front of a box of staffs taken from the depth of the sister's ship, alternating between its position in orbit or close by along safe warp paths. The staffs here have been bound together. They live off of and power each other with small procedures we can do on my ship to enhance your abilities, and working together, you might survive. She turns with authority to the box and picks out a staff with either hand, turns around, tosses one to the closest recruit, and beckons for the rest to move. Let me show you. I will summon a minor warp being, and you are try to harm it using that staff and your powers. The sister continues. The sister holds a rosario taken from her wrist high and says a prayer to the Emperor. Then a small lens-like effect appears next to her. Light bends around it for a moment, then a small black puff of cloud with bright white eyes and slightly orange cat ears with golden imperial armor and a custodian spear manifests. It, in a high chime voice, greets the sister, who responds with a curt, "Familiar." The familiar takes a grim expression and looks at the recruit and spins a spear. The sister lets out a slight grimace. "You may proceed," they say. The recruit, drawing on a powerful past spent doing Emperor's Tarot and providing various seeing and warp services such as counsel on the dead and proper paths in the unseen to local riffraff, even once helping the navigator of a ship on a bit of a warp problem. Nothing serious, but likes to brag about it, as guiding a ship out of warp, it was closer to bringing beverages to the middle of a desert. Their skin crackles slightly, the air turns cold, and a small arc of lightning strikes from the staff at the familiar. It lets out a squeal. The sister looks at it. The familiar looks ever so slightly singed. Some of its dark, misty fog edges have burnt. The armor has a tiny scorch mark. The sister focuses on the recruit, and recruit lets out a surprised yelp. A surge of electricity seems to run through their skin, superior than previously. The sister nods to the familiar. A large arc lets out from the staff and the familiar's. Armor has deep burnt and melt marks, the flesh has deep cuts, and the creature staggers momentarily, then perks upright, such as a fog can. The small Nurgling-sized creature proudly stands like a custodian and ignores the obvious pain. At best, you can really hurt one of these. The one you see before you is a small warp apparition. I wanted you to study one of their beasts up close and what damage you can really do. Summoning a Nurgling here for demonstration would be unacceptable, this. They pause for a moment. Thing will suffice as a target. The sister motions for the recruit and the rest of the gathered recruits to take a good look. The creature has lacerations and burns but seems to withstand it. A few of those hits, at good angles, could perhaps take it down. Problem is, a single bolter shot would probably cause it to explode like a turnip. The sister nods at the collected understanding of the weakness of their powers and continues. Warp powers are split into two categories, too powerful to use or too weak to have any effect, with the sole exception of situations where only warp power will do. They stop and take a seat. So can you be instructed into psychers? Yes. Yes, you can. You will likely be held in reserve until some danger appears to which only you can respond, and then thrown at it in a single massive ball, and you die. But without it, in that situation, we would all die. There is a moment of hushed silence, then one of the recruits makes an aquila. One by one, they all make one.